then they just, the next thing you know, they're in high heels and a skirt. But you know what? I'm a firm believer of uniforms in the school.
God.
And I'll tell you why. I went to parochial school, okay?
Yeah.
I went to Mount St. Joseph until they closed down.
Girls are so special, Chris. And they should think of themselves as being extremely special. They shouldn't, and guys should have more respect for themselves. You know, their own dignity and their own way of life. You know, what does it say for their character? Not that I want to go off on a tangent, but you open the box.
Well, it comes, like I said, it comes back down to the fact where there's no more man or woman. It's equal. It's the equality of life. And that's just the way we're living today. It's equality of life. Women have a right to do just like men, you know, whatever a man can do. And they can make their own decisions. They're becoming more and more independent, and they're getting more and more active. I can say, like I said, parents the main thing for them is the responsibility is key. Responsibility is key. But you can't keep your eye on them 24 hours a day. Now, where does that fall? They send them to school. The teachers, here's the dilemma. Teachers don't have enough help to run a 35 children full-size classroom. You know, so you're not getting that extra one-on-one that I used to get once in a while in school. I saw my son's report card the other day, and I asked him, I said, you know, because I looked, and he's an intelligent kid, and I said, I looked at a few subjects, and I said, why aren't you doing well here, but you're doing well in other ones? He said, because I'm not interested in them, Dad. And I said, well, why not? He said, because I'm not interested. I said, well, you bring these books home, and we'll go over what you're talking about. That's what parents need to do. They need to be active in their kids, in their curriculum. I've also spoke to my children's teachers and the principals of their schools, and have asked them to send me the curriculum of what the teacher's teaching them. Send me it for the week so I know what's going on. You know, I'd be able to help, because parents have to help, Roland. Parents have to help their children get by.
They claim they don't have time, they can't do this, they can't do that. Anyway, getting back to not to change the subject, but I was very interested in your report on the city council meeting. Now, what I want to know is, let me tell you something, Chris. Then you can answer. You answer it. What impact does either being or whoever is the president or vice president of the city council have on making Fall River a better city?
Here was the problem yesterday. They had two lawyers there, the city's lawyer and they had another lawyer there, who both stated their opinions, and they had one disagreement on the whole thing. One believed that the city council needed to make a vote and they needed a president, and the other one said they didn't need one. Now, here was the basis of this this whole thing. They brought up, in the event that, let's say, this is a 10-year, 10 years left to the mayor's term, and if something was to happen to the mayor, the vice president or the president would become acting mayor, okay? But because we don't have a president, there would have to be a special vote by the council to elect a temporary president, okay? But then now you're left without a president or a vice president in the council. So you still have to fill a void there. You're still going to have to fill some kind of void.
How often does that happen? How often? I think there's only two I know in my lifetime.
Well,
Dan Bogan filled in when Carlton Viveras left.
Right.
And then when the election came up, he didn't. John Mitchell got it. And then
1960.
Then you had Bill Whitty when Eddie Lambert bailed out.
And then, no, you had one more. The death of that city councilman there. I can't think of his name now. Back in the '60s when this happened, where it was 2 months left to the term.
Oh, I don't. Okay.
And now this is the council that happened.
But I'm talking about the importance of the office. What is so important about being president or vice president, with the exception of the president? If in fact the mayor dies or absconds with all the funds in the city, right? Takes off, goes to Brazil, no extradition rights. I only say that as an example, hypothetically. He now moves into the job as president of the council. All right, you have to have succession. But the vice president, he doesn't move.
No,
that doesn't make that's
and that was one. It was one of the things that I thought of also.
So who's the vice president now?
Still Ray Hague.
Oh, it's Ray Hague.
Yeah, he's still Councilor Hague. But here's the thing, and excuse me. One thing I did see during this whole debate, it was an hour, probably about an hour and 20 minutes that we lasted on this whole thing. I think we took a break before Councilor Camara got sworn in as the president, and that was at about 8 o'clock. and it was just a long, dragging, just long and tedious and just back and forth. I mean, I knew what the vote was going to be before the vote happened, obviously. One thing that I had to say was that, Counselor, first day on the job, how long you been on the job? All day, sir. Brian Bigelow came, he had something in the on the Herald News on February 2nd that he said he was going to be fair, and he's not in concert with anyone. Now I find that funny because he does play the drums and he was a music teacher and stuff, but he
Brian Bigelow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Of course, he was a drum player.
No, I worked with Brian at the sheriff's office. I know him very well.
And
what do you want to know about him?
Well, I'm just saying that he said here on this article. I mean, I know a lot about him, and he said that he emphasized being independent.
I worked with all those guys. Now you think of it.
Now, when he sat there, and he came took his role as a counselor, and got involved. And I know it's hard because it's the first time he was there, and he got new. He was
kind of a job do you do on a school committee?
Well, that was
school committee's in chaos.
That was given to him by the mayor to hold, but that's another.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I mean, what kind of a job did you do on a school committee?
Not good.
You turn around and, and like I say, if you look at the school committee, look at what they just went through. If they're not, they may still be going through a lot of stuff.
Well, my problem is this.
So I mean, how is Bigelow going to impact the school committee? What difference is he going to make?
Well, he impacted the city council yesterday by
his vote.
Absolutely, 5-4. He was the swinging vote. Brian Bigelow was the swinging vote.
Why am I not surprised that Brian voted for Joe Camara? Why am I not surprised?
Well, it comes to the part where, again, like I said, that it comes down to the I do want to applaud the Councilor Haig and Councilor Pelletier and most of the councilors that even though they expressed their concerns about who the president was going to be, if they needed a president and they needed to vote for it right away, that once it was done, the council had unified and unanimously, on record, approved and voted for Councilor Camara to become the new council president. But in the same event, I do want to say that, like I said, if you didn't know that this wasn't coming, it's very simple to look at. You have Councilor Camara, Joe Camara, who basically has been mayor-sided the whole, his whole time, and you have Councilor Casey again. I don't have to mention we've had her on our show, and it's been from doing research, her past trends to follow any mayor that's in the city. She follows whatever the mayor wants, she does. You had Brian Bigelow, who had a job, was given a job by the mayor on the school committee, and you also had Mr. Lund, who, wasn't going to vote against it because he just, a half hour before, he was asking for an approval to extend his land at the Border Light Marina. So, I mean, I feel there was a conflict of interest there with I don't think Brian Bigelow had a right to vote last night because, I mean, it was his first night on the job. I mean, what does he know what's going on? But anyway, it went through, and
do what they want anyway. What difference does it make?
Well, they went through, and it got passed, and we had taken a break, and the swearing-in was done, transitions were made, and they went on finally on to some business. And I was glad that Steve Camara. We talked about the Durfee old Durfee Tech building on 64 Durfee Street, and what they want to do with that. There was two developers that were interested in it, and but to get back to what the mayor said, the mayor wanted it to become another housing development. And we don't need that anymore. And and yesterday was a gentleman that came on.
This is you need more poor people in Fall River.
There was a gentleman that came on yesterday. His name was, and he approached the council. His name's Jeff Carpenter, and he represents the committee on economic development of tourism, which Councilor Camara is the chair of that.
Tourism?
Of council, yeah. Well, it's economic development and tourism.
Economic development. Right. You'll have to excuse me while I choke on that one.
Well,
economic development. That's got to be the biggest joke since the Chicago fire.
I'm with them in one way, Roland, because I'm going to tell you, Fiola wants a mixed-use artist space there. Okay.
Is he still working for the city?
Of course he is.
They didn't.
No.
With the many times that he's goofed, they still got him on a payroll.
Well, he's still there.
They'll say screw up and move up.
Here's the big thing that this gentleman, Mr. Carpenter of Forever, brought up. That, you know, he wants, it was a resolution